Crab Salts. If anyone wants to know more about the Ukraine-Russo conflict, YouTuber channel Adam Something has a great video on all of this. Deaths pulled from the future. The Atlantic Council, among other foreign policy think tanks, are funded by the defense industry, so it isn't a surprise they support any war they can. Jibber Jabber. In terms of the White House, state, and DOD responses, I think it makes sense to drum up the urgency of this war happening. Putin wants to see a weak, hesitant West by overstating the urgency of impending war and withdrawing embassy staff. I think this tells Putin that we're taking him seriously, as well as getting players like the UK and Germany to understand that the West needs a united front. Doing this and throwing out accusations of false flags also helps to narrate global media coverage so that no one can be caught off guard. The U.S. is trying to dictate how this is perceived, and I think they've done a decent job so far. Yeah. Still ways to go, though. We'll see if de-escalation continues. Frankly, Putin is too smart to launch a full-fledged war with Ukraine, given the initial Western response and anti-Russian feelings held by Ukrainians. I largely agree. I mean, I think, we will find out. But if your agenda is to minimize the likelihood of war, it's quite possible this has all been a bluff by Putin to, raise oil revenues, to get a better deal on Nord Stream, to get maybe some buffer window where Ukraine is not admitted into NATO. It could be a way of cementing his, hold on Crimea. It could be a way of raising his domestic profile and helping him when he was unpopular. And it could be all of those things simultaneously. It could be any one of those things. Nevertheless, the agenda of the United States seems to me, primary one should be no war.
Yeah. But it also strengthens NATO when it's been very weak. I mean, you can't get Germany in line. It's forcing the hands of Germany. This is obviously without the UK as part of it. Look at Macron. He's coming out as looking like this, reasonable world, leader in this situation. So it also goes against Putin's interests. I
mean, he may have overplayed his hand. I think to a certain extent, it's also possible he thought this could tear apart NATO. That because there's divergent and maybe it didn't. Just because he tries something doesn't mean it's going to work, right? I mean, it seems unlikely to me that he ever had real intent to invade Ukraine. I mean, it just seems like that would be just a bit of a folly, but who knows? And nevertheless, I think what the U.S. has done so far has been the right thing to make it seem like we're on high alert. It's not like we were going to go and invade. It's not like we were going to paratroop in there.
What do you think the Xi Jinping aspect of this? It's not like they're actual allies. I found it, I don't know if you've covered it at all. We haven't really.
What, Putin speaking with him about this?
Officially aligning with him on it, or aligning with him.
I mean,
it makes sense from China's perspective.
I think to a certain extent, he doesn't want the world to turn into a U.S. China sort of type of Cold War, because then it's not important. Russia is not as important of a player. I mean, it's, once you resolve which side you're going to be on in that, that fight, you're sort of over, right?
Well, one option's taken away, though. I mean, there's no realistic alliance between the United States and Russia in a Cold War with China. I don't see that.
I mean,
it's already decided for him, so you might as well warm up that relationship at this point.
I think you sort of play both sides. Why not? You could string this out, but we'll see.